What's up, Cancer? Welcome to your Love Quickie. This is going to be a timeless love reading, so whenever you are inspired to watch it is when it's meant for you to watch it. Definitely check out your other placements because it is not going to resonate with all of you guys, okay? So, Cancer. Okay, for you guys at this time, it feels like there's a matter of, well, number one, it feels like some of you guys might be going through, well, I'll say you guys or your partner, right? Because this can be flip-flopped, but I'll keep it at you guys. You fix it however it makes sense for you. But it feels like a lot of you guys are in this place where, maybe you've got a lot of responsibilities, feeling a little overwhelmed with work. Family could be in the relationship, but there's definitely some points of I'm overwhelmed, I'm kind of at a breaking point, but it feels like you're just trying to handle and take on these things all by yourself, right? And while I understand why you would do that, Cancer rising here, so I do it as well, it's not always the best thing if you're going to be in a partnership because it leaves too much room for the opposite person to really kind of create their own narrative of what they think the problem is. So for you guys, there's a lot of talk of communication here that needs to be happening, which is interesting, right? Because there are no swords cards here. We've got some air representation with this justice card here. And judgment to me is a little bit of Libra, Scorpio energy mix, but there is no air signs here. There is no sword energy here, which indicates to me maybe the missing piece of this puzzle is the communication factor with you and your partner, okay? Because we don't know what we don't know. And we can't assume that other people should just know how we feel, even though, I know we all go through that. So you guys are starting off with the Hermit card. You've got the Hermit and the Ten of Wands. Hermit card is about being alone, right? It is about going deep within. It is about finding your own light, searching deep within in your wisdom. I do feel like some of you guys might be so overwhelmed to the point of, maybe it might be helpful to talk to a professional, someone to give you some insight, someone to kind of help you compartmentalize your feelings so that you can kind of deal with them a little bit better, because the Hermit is a wise person. This is a wise leader. This is someone who, people go to seek counsel because they've got so much wisdom under their belt. But this is kind of showing a time that for you guys, you might be being a little bit more to yourself at this time. You might be feeling a little bit cut off from your partner. And some of you guys might be doing that and not even noticing it, right? It feels like it stems from a lot of overwhelmment. Ten of Wands is I've got so much on my plate. I don't even know how to juggle it all, yet I'm trying to take it all on, and I'm not telling people that I need help. Whenever we get the Ten of Wands, it really talks about needing to delegate some things. So if this is around the house, let's say, and you live with your partner and you feel like you're the one always doing the dishes, or you feel like you're always the one folding the laundry and it's starting to like take a toll on you, then that's something that needs to be addressed. Now that's just a small example, but just in general, if you guys are dealing with life things where you don't know how to handle them, um, it would be really wise to talk to someone. Now, you can, depending on your partner, hopefully you guys are with someone who is really understanding, someone who's patient, someone who, doesn't mind kind of going through these things with you. But what I do know is you can't stay here at this Ten of Wands, keeping everything bottled up, handling everything on your own because you think it's your duty to do it and that's it. I will also say, this feels very work related in a sense. Like some of you guys might be having issues with work and you're seeing how it's starting to kind of play a negative role in your relationships, right? Because if you're working all the time, then you're away from your partner more. If you are frustrated with your work life, we're at work more than we are at home in most cases. And you could be coming home and taking out those things on your partner, those frustrations on your partner, or just kind of ignoring them completely. So here you are dealing with your own issue. It could be completely separate of them, have nothing to do with them at all, but they're taking it as a personal thing, and it could be just that you're overwhelmed with a lot going on. So again, communication here is really going to be your key. Now, it feels like some of you guys, this could be like a second chance situation. Maybe this is someone that you've, um, reconciled with. This could be someone from the past. I say that because it is the Judgment key. Judgment card is very much connected to second chances. Right? So this could be a second chance at a certain relationship. This could be your second chance to redo something, reconsider something. All of that kind of comes into play. And then you kind of got, like, for me, like I said, Judgment to me feels very kind of split with that Justice and Scorpio, or Justice and Scorpio, Justice and Death, or Libra Scorpio energy, because you've got the element of making decisions, right? But then you've also got that death and rebirth. A chance to make something new again, a chance to fix something again. And so if this is the case, let's say maybe you guys are dealing with someone from the past that things didn't go right because of, I don't know, let's throw an example out there, like communication, lack of communication. I'll use that since that seems like that's what's going on here. It's almost as if some of you guys are in a place where you recognize this, like, oh my God, this is going down the same road. If I don't kind of take action and say something, I could see this kind of playing out the same. So then that adds like another layer of stress, right? That's like a whole nother wand to add to the pile. So I would say if you guys are stressed, especially if it has something to do, or actually not to do with your partner, I would definitely tell them, because I get the feeling too that some of your partners are starting to take this kind of distance, or this this lack of communication. They're trying to take it personal. And again, if you don't give people the information or give them the answers or whatever, then people will make up their own things about it. Not saying that's right, but we see how that happens, right? What I do love is I do feel like there could be a shift coming on here in a good way. We've got the Seven of Wands, which is coming up in the near future. Now, this is a card of resistance. This is a card of standing up for themselves. In the original Rider-Waite-Smith depictions, you've got you've got the man who's standing at the top of the mountain with the wand. It's almost as if he's being jumped by 6 other people, right? But I love that in this Modern Love Tarot deck, you've got 2 people together. So you've got your support together. And in this deck and in this reading, in this case, it does talk about communicating for the greater good, coming together and, pushing back on things together. It does talk about, finding solutions together. It does talk about you being in this place of, maybe you're in a place of confusion, maybe you're in a place of frustration, but you're not alone. You've got people in your corner. So I think that's the biggest thing for you guys. You don't want anybody to take on your things, right? Because you want to be fair, and it's like, oh, they don't, it doesn't belong to them, and, I can take it, I can do it, but you don't have to. And there are people who want to be around you and want to support you, and I feel like they just don't know how, because this Hermit energy can come off really standoffish. It can come off as someone who just really doesn't want to be bothered with anybody, and I don't think that that's what's going on, but then it would be up to you, Cancer, to communicate that, because they're not mind readers. And I know sometimes we get frustrated and we're like, why can't you just figure out what I like? Or why can't you just figure out what I need? Why can't you? But to be fair, that's just not practical or fair. Like, it's just not. So I do it feels like somewhere in the mix here, probably with your realization of either talking to a professional or just spending that time alone, you're figuring out that there's certain things that aren't working within your life. And as you talk about it, you will figure out more that you don't have to face these things alone, right? You've got that Seven of Wands here, so you've got support. Now, in my cop-out position, or my, what to avoid position, you got the Justice card. So it's kind of interesting that is that would be in what to avoid. But it also makes a lot of sense. Now, Justice is connected to Libra energy, so maybe some of you guys are dealing with the Libra. But this is about marriage, right? This is about relationships. This is about, let's say if we're talking about a certain relationship that is being represented by the Justice card, it's usually a relationship that's, traditional in a sense. It's long-standing, but there's not necessarily a whole lot of passion here, right? So for starters, in terms of what to avoid, it's don't become so sterile in your relationship of like, oh, well, yeah, like the daily things are working, we like, don't make it so mechanical, right? You don't want to become this relationship that becomes like ships in the night, or however that saying goes. The point is, you kind of want to bring more passion into it. But then also, another flip is a lot of you guys don't focus solely on the relationship. I think there's more of a focus that needs to be put on self. This is what you're supposed to be aiming for with the Chariot card, which is you, right? And I love that this is showing up as what you are to aim for and what you are to, aspire for, right? Because whatever issues you are going on with you, Cancer, what I can say is it really doesn't have anything to do with anybody else. Now, the symptoms of the issues might show up in your relationships, right? So you might see something going on in your current romantic relationship and you think that, oh, that ties all into it. But the root of this has nothing to do with the partner. There's things within you right now that need to be addressed. So that's another thing. Like, really finding a way, Cancer, to be in this relationship or be in this partnership without only giving attention to the partnership. I think that you right now need more of the attention, right? Because the fact of the matter is, the best thing that I can do for anybody in a relationship is take good care of myself, mind, body, soul. Because when I'm in a good place, our relationship is thriving. It can't help but thrive, right? But if I'm down and I'm feeling like this and I'm feeling stressed, Nine of Wands, there's nothing I can do for this relationship. I'm literally good to nobody. So, not saying to ignore your partner, not to say to forget the relationship altogether, but they're really not the priority right now because you've got some things that you need to work out. You've got some wands that you need to put down. And there needs to be a different type of focus that's kind of directed to that. The same way that you would support your friends is the way that you need to support yourself right now. You are the goal. You are the aiming. You are what you're aiming for. Now, the Chariot card talks about success and moving forward. It is a victory card. But in order to have that victory, there needs to be balance. So there is something about balance being restored with you guys, right? On like your own personal thing, like your own personal situation. But what happens is when you restore the balance within yourself, then again, it makes the relationship better. Right? It makes the relationship thrive because again, the best thing I can do for myself or for my partner is show up fully as myself, is, give myself grace, give myself love just as I would my partner. And that's how we all thrive, right? There are certain attention to detail things that you guys need to handle within your own relationship, or I'm sorry, within your own life, because it is definitely affecting your relationship, especially if it's work related. Okay. Now, your advice for moving forward, you get the Nine of Wands and the Two of Cups. Nine of Wands energy is like that stressing out. It's you're scared because you've gone through so many things in the past and you are afraid that you will go through it again, right? And you just feel like you don't have the capacity to. Now, again, if this is having to do with like past relationships gone wrong, some of you guys might be bringing up some past fears, past insecurities into this relationship. If that is something, definitely I would suggest talking to a professional about that, because there is no way that you can get into that good feeling place in your relationship if you're always worried about what could possibly go wrong. If you want a healthy, fun, loving, passionate relationship, then that's the thing that you need to be focused on. That's what you need to be exuding. You can't be worried about the other things, the arguments, the things that went wrong in the past, the people who cheated on you or betrayed you, times you've gotten your heart broken. You cannot do that and focus on that and then expect lovers type energy. But what I do love is you have the Two of Cups here too. So a lot of you guys, you actually do have someone around you who's, worth a damn. They care about you. There's balance. It's harmonious. There's a lot of love. I think there's a point to really look at the things in your life that are working for you rather than the things in your life that aren't. Again, for the most part, I don't feel like the things that aren't working for you are really the relationship. I do think though that if you are having any friction in your relationships right now, Cancer, it is about you or your partner bringing external things, right? Work stress, family stress, maybe even health concerns into this partnership. So these are things that we should be communicating, right? If this is what we want to stay in, that Two of Cups energy. This is beautiful balance. There's love, appreciation, respect, romance. It's all that. So really focusing on the good right now rather than focusing on what's stressing you out, knowing that, everything is not going to turn out like it did in the past. One bad experience does not mean that that's just how it's going to be. And really communicating certain fears and things to your partner, because you got a lot of wands, which is a lot of like action, right? Wands are connected to action, but a lot of these are wands that show resistance in relationships. And I just don't really feel like you have to go at it alone. I think a lot of you guys are in these types of situations where you have someone who's just like, yo, say the word, but I don't, say the word. I'm right there. I'm ready to help you, but I don't know how to help you. And I can't read your mind. And I also don't want to overstep boundaries. Okay. Now, most likely outcome, you got the Knight of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles. I think part of these fears also come from, especially if this is like job related or money related, that type of thing. I think a lot of you Cancers are connecting to someone who you really want to plant certain seeds with, right? Knight of Pentacles is, that's the planner. That's the person that gets everything together. They're very organized, very goal oriented. You're possibly dealing with someone who's maybe trying to start their own thing, start their own business, right? Queen of Pentacles energy, she's super down to earth. She's a great mother. She's a great partner. She's someone who keeps you grounded. And I do feel like you guys are stepping into that. But again, people can't help if they don't know what they're helping. And it feels like you at least got someone who's got enough sense to where they don't want to overstep boundaries. So if you're hearing this Hermit energy, they're just kind of letting you be in your Hermit energy. But that doesn't mean that they're not in their head like, okay, yo, what's going on? So if you care about this relationship, if you care about this connection, you've been feeling yourself kind of falling off and you know full well that has nothing to do with the partner, then this will be a time that communicating those things would be very, very helpful for you. Remember, there isn't so much focus that has to be put into the relationship other than communicating how you feel and your needs and all of that. I feel like you guys are dealing with someone who's actually pretty independent on their own. It doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of codependency in terms of them needing stuff from you. So allow them to be a support for you, right? Because again, if you leave this person to draw their own conclusions from you being standoffish or agitated or whatever, they might draw the wrong conclusion. But at the end of the day, they do really see something here and they do really want it to work. And there is potential for a lot of growth here. I mean, just looking at the placement of the cards, you got the Two of Cups and the Justice card right next to each other. Right? This is the makings of a beautiful long-term relationship, a beautiful marriage, a beautiful whatever. But that involves two people. So you gotta communicate a little bit right now, Cancer, if that's what you really want. Now, you've got religious factors. Your love life is influenced by your religious upbringing and spiritual path, which is absolutely true, possibly for a lot of you. For me, this religious factors card also really talks a lot about tradition. Right? Maybe you guys have different views of, what a marriage looks like, what a partnership looks like. Maybe there's, certain obstacles in your way that you feel like make it harder to come closer. Like maybe there's long distance, it could be so many different things. But this religious factors card for me ties a lot into traditions, and maybe even expectations that you have. Maybe some of you guys are in a place where you feel like you should have, a certain relationship or children or something by now and you don't. And that adds other factors into it. These are all things to think about. These are all things that if, it's resonating, I would definitely unpack with a professional. I do feel like you have someone totally in your corner, someone who really wants to build with you. And this is the most likely outcome. There's a lot of potential to do that. But first, you got to start saying something, Cancer, because you got your boo over there like, huh? But they're willing to fight for you. They're willing to fight for this. There is love there. There is connection there. And then I do just want to say too, in terms of love, if we're talking about an archetype, Knight of Pentacles can be like kind of like a very vanilla lover, right? They're not exactly exciting, but they're loyal type thing. So I would definitely suggest, go on a little date, cook dinner, make it cute, do anything, something that involves you guys working together that can kind of spice things up a little bit, because that might also be an issue for you guys at this moment. Okay. So I hope this was helpful, Cancer. I love you, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.